pleasant good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Monday, the 20th day of November 2023. Welcome one and all. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and that you're prepared for a very productive week ahead of us. So welcome to this program. Share the live, let people know that we are on. Monday's episode. My colleague is already in the studio. We are ready and we are waiting. We have so much to tell you. As I continue to say, we are overwhelmed with the issues to bring to your attention. So we're here this morning, and again, I suspect time is going to be of critical importance. So yes, we are with you this Monday morning, for this Monday's episode. I noted, as is customary now, lots of students in the schoolyard when the program was scheduled early this morning. And as we went live a few moments ago, the Facebookers are pouring into the class. So welcome. Share the live. Let them know that we are here on this Monday, a good day to be here, the start of a new work week. And as I said, I hope you had a wonderful, peaceful, productive weekend. Hope that was so for each and every one of you on this live. Now let me say this. We know this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. So many persons would not have been this fortunate. So we have to give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day and to be a part of this exciting program. It's going to be exciting as usual. Going to be exciting as usual. We have so much to tell you about. We're going to do the roll call in a short while, because by now you've come to understand that the roll call is very important. We have to know all those who attend, and of course, by extension, we'll know those who are not in class or at least on time. We know people have challenges, and we say to you that if you're unable to make the live, this program is on YouTube, it's on Facebook. So if you're unable to make the live, you can go anytime on YouTube and on Facebook and see the program. YouTube, so you type in Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, it comes up. And if you're there, you're going to see all the previous episodes. This is the 54th episode on this second season, and all the episodes are on YouTube. So all you have to do, go there and look if you miss it. Same thing on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, I invite you to follow the page. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe to the page. They have this thing with YouTube and Facebook, these algorithms. And the more you subscribe, the more people like the page and all of that, the more popular it becomes. It gets to more viewers. And that is the intention, to spread the information far and wide. So yes, we are here this morning. As I said, my colleague is already in the studio, ready, raring to go. So let me run the roll call very quickly. We had quite a number of students here, but we're going to do our best to tell you the students who were here from the time the program was scheduled. First person in class was Joan. Joan came for us this morning. Then Pamela was here. And let me tell you before I go on, sometimes we are plagued with blackouts. So in case you see a sudden freeze or the program ends, just bear your chafe. We're going to come back on. We're going to make sure that we can come back. Last Wednesday, we had a lot of technical challenges where suddenly the internet became very, very slow and all of that. But we got to persevere. We got to be here. Sean was in next at 8:02. John came in. Wesley. Jakey was here this morning at 8:04, followed by Trotty, Tessa, Princess. It was in class very early, 8:10 this morning. Rhonda, Carville is here in class very early. Pito, the man from Queens. And Pito says here that he talked about 83,000 square miles. We can talk about that a little later. Vibart, welcome. Ronald, Wayne from the UK is here. Wayne is always here. Early in the it's going to be evening or afternoon in the UK where he is. Brian Saul, Courtney Saul, Kenneth, Earl, Carlton, squad mate 9430. Winston from the UK. Carl is here. Carl Rodney. Maureen is in class. Neddy, Malcolm Ned is here with us. Then we have Vernon, Carlisle, Tilula. I think I pronounced that correctly. Tilula. Then we have, well, he says that he's in the cold. I guess he's in the US. Carl, my squad mate from Arizona, is in the house. Pauline, Machu, John. John is very much here. Ulrich, we can talk about the cricket a little later, Ulrich. Vibart is in class. Then we have Francis. Francis indicated that he's now in Queens again. Patricia, Glenn is here. Keelan, and all of these people, you see the time, 9:58, Keelan came into class. Lucius is here. Bonita is here. Doreen, my squad mate from Canada, is in class. Then we add after Doreen, Felicia. Cello came in there this morning at 10:40. We have David Gordon, Old Police 6659. He came in this morning. He's from Canada. He came in at 10:44. Then we had the original black man. Then we had Daniel. The one and only BX is here. Then we have Emerson, W351, Hamilton. Sheila is in class. Leslie, Ben is in class. Jacko, all the way from Georgia, is here. Marvin is in class. Everett is in Texas, he's here. Terrence from Canada is here. Paul from Canada. Family Music, Yvonne. Como is here. Como is from New Jersey in class. Leanne is in class. Ulrich, my squad mate, 9555 is in class. Clay is in class. Oren, he's a UK man, he's in class. The next person is Valletta is in class. Marlon is very much here. Isabella, regular. Samuel, Zar is here. Court is here. Mayro is here. Bart is here. Danny is very much in class. Kerry. And then when we went live, the first man was Raul, then Melinda, followed by Andrea, Winston, and they kept pouring in on Facebook. Ryan, Stayan, and the list goes on and on. Well, let me bring in my colleague. Let me bring in my colleague just to greet you, and then we're gonna deal with some other issues. CC, welcome. Hope you had a wonderful weekend.
Nice and quiet, good family time, and I'm happy to be in the land of the living, that we can do God's work. And just announce, I think maybe it slipped you, that they had a retired detective corporal, Floyd Ross, died about a week ago.
Yes, I have it to announce immediately after. So just wanted you to come in.
Sorry that I preempted.
No, it's all right. It's all right, man. It's all right.
He worked with me for a while, you know, both in this.
All right, so we're gonna be back in a short while. Yeah, folks. So as we say, it's a day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and regretfully, we have to announce the passing of members. Last week, I announced the passing of retired Assistant Commissioner Brian Joseph. I have some information here for his funeral that I wish to share with you. The funeral will take place on Saturday coming. That's Saturday, the 25th of November. According to the information provided, the viewing will be at Merriman's very early in the morning. That's 6:30 to 7:40. 6:30 in the morning to 7:40 viewing at Merriman's. After that, he leaves, and the body leaves for his residence at Tushan, East Bank, Essequibo. They're gonna be, I think it's a private viewing there. Then from there it goes to the church. The church is at, let me read the church. The church is at Praise Center Assembly or Central Assembly of God, 37 C Field, Lenora, West Coast, Demerara. And there's a viewing from 10, and on the service will be at Lenora. Then he leaves, the body leaves there for Hope Town, West Coast, Borbies. There's a church there again. He goes to the Hope Town Congregational Church, West Coast, Borbies, where there will be viewing. And then the burial will take place at the Hope Town Cemetery, Um, the information is that they will be the wake in terms of wake. Well, tonight there is a night of reflection. Tonight, Monday the 20th, at the Police Sports Club. Let me repeat that. A night of reflection tonight at the Police Sports Club. People have been asking me why not the police officers mess. I don't know. But it's at the Police Sports Club in Parade Street. That is where the night of reflection is scheduled to be held this evening. And then tomorrow night, that's tomorrow, Tuesday, there is to be a wake at his mother's residence, Uptown, West Coast, Borbies. And then on Thursday and Friday, wake at his residence, Tushan, East Bank, Essequibo. And then, as I said, the funeral takes place on Saturday, the 25th. And I told you, those of you in Georgetown who want to view some 6:30 to 7:40 on Saturday morning. It's very early because it has a lot of traveling to do. Then to Tushan, East Bank, Essequibo, then back to Leonora for the church. The church service is scheduled to commence and viewing at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. When that is finished, then the body goes to Uptown, the Congregational Church there for further viewing, and then interment at the cemetery there. So that is the information in respect of retired Assistant Commissioner Brian Joseph. I think he got a DSM, he got a national award. So then we had as Mr. Conway alluded to earlier, the death of former Detective Corporal Floyd Ross. He was found dead in his residence at Grove, East Bank, Demerara, sometime last week. He lived alone, and I think the postmortem revealed some burst blood vessel or something like that. So he has died. I'm not sure about the funeral arrangement. And then, of course, we had this tragic death of woman constable outside of the BV police station. She was there working and struck down and killed by a drunk driver. Now I will deal with that issue a little later. I'm just merely announcing the passing now, but we're going to deal with it a little later. And lastly, in terms of those who have passed, I think we have to mention that the former First Lady of the United States, Rosalind Carter, wife of the President Jimmy Carter, she passed yesterday at the age of 96. You know, it was a little surprising to me because some months ago we learned that Jimmy Carter was in a health care facility, hospice, and then a few days ago she went in to receive health care, but she passed yesterday, and Jimmy is still very much alive. I think he celebrated his 100th birthday not so long ago. So condolences to all the relatives, friends, and family members in terms of the passing of the policewoman, to our colleagues in the force. It's a very, very tragic incident, which I think we have decided that we're going to discuss a little more in the program when we deal with the traffic situation in this country. So let me bring back in Mr. Conway at this stage, and before we move on. Yes, CC.
Yeah, my sympathy to all the relatives, family, friends of the deceased, particularly Brian Floyd Ross and that female, tragic incident at BV police station. But I'll listen to the arrangement for the assistant commissioner, and I observed that you'll be traveling you'll be moving in Demerara, Essequibo, and Borbies, the whole country that he taking up 83,000 square miles, man, and that is good for a send off.
Yeah, yes, he's going to be traversing all three counties. So, yes, real sad, real sad. My good friend. Let me move on though, and to say, well, after the death, the passing, and all the sad news, I want to take this opportunity to send the birthday greetings to retired Senior Superintendent Lyndon Lord, my friend. Oh Lord, today is Lyndon's birthday. Birthday greetings to you, my brother, and belated birthday greetings to retired woman Deputy Commissioner Maxine Graham. Maxine celebrated her birthday, I think it was yesterday, and also Assistant Superintendent and Attorney at Law, Dylan Fraser. He too celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday greetings to you folks, and I wish you health, strength, and happiness. Right? So yes, those persons celebrated their birthdays recently. CC, I'm sure you want to wish them happy birthday as well.
Yes, true, Maxine, that young and vibrant attorney at law and others. I want to wish them a happy birthday. Well, some of them already passed already, and I know that they have many more to celebrate.
Yeah, I'm just reminded, and thank you, Rick Ford. I almost forgot to mention the death of retired corporal. I think he was Edwards, Chico Edwards,
Yes, yep.
7702.
Mhm.
Chico died in the UK recently. How could I have forgotten that? Chico was a man, once you went to the UK and you made contact with him, he was always there to take you out and to treat you well. So yes, Chico passed away recently. My bad for not mentioning it earlier, and I'm trying to get the details of his funeral and all of that. But yeah, Chico, 7702, Chico Edwards, old man from CID headquarters, and he spent a little time at the TSU when I was there, and then he moved on to the UK. So Chico passed recently. Very jovial guy, always had a rice crack. Always, Chico always pulling pranks and wisecrack. I recall going to England in 2002, and I hooked up with some of my teammates with Chico. And Chico insisted that we have to eat mutton curry. And little did I know that I had to prepare the mutton curry. We went to the butchery, we bought the mutton, and we had a wonderful time. So yeah, Chico has passed, and I want to express condolences to his family on his passing. Cici, I don't know if you remember Chico.
I remember him a very jovial, very jovial friend. When you're around, you're always skinning your teeth all the time. I remember him well.
Yeah, yes, Chico was like that. Chico was like that. Now moving on, I know we had the ICC World Cup finals yesterday, India and Australia. And I told you all, it is called Amazon Warrior Syndrome. Those of you who are not the cricket fans are here, Ulrich, I think, and these people, I'm sure they're gonna know what the Amazon Warrior Syndrome is. That is, for those of you who don't know, you win all the preliminary matches. You win the match in the semi-final, and then the most important of the matches, the final, you lost. And that is exactly what happened to India. They went into the finals unbeaten. Whereas Australia, who ended up victorious, lost the first two matches they played in the series. So it's not how you start, is where you end up. So Australia are the champions. I think it's for the sixth time, the ICC 50 over Cricket World Cup. So, I mean, some of us feel a sense of loss now that we can't get up in the morning and watch cricket. But remember, I think the next tournament that we have the West Indies. England is coming down to the West Indies in a few weeks' time. The first match starts on the 3rd. I think they're going to be playing what? I have a note, 3 ODIs, 3 one-days, and 5 T20s from the 3rd to the 21st of December. So, England took a battering in this World Cup. West Indies didn't even make it to the World Cup. So I suspect England coming to take revenge on the West Indies. Let's see how that will go. Because West Indies are going to be in their own backyard, and one would expect them to put up a good showing. But let's see where that will go. So that is what has happened to the World Cup. CC, I know you're a cricket fan, so I'm sure you enjoyed the final yesterday.
I watch every ball. I was there, and my wife was rooting for Australia, but I, I remained silent. Well, it was an excellent match, a good match, and I always say that Australia will not be like West Indies. They wouldn't hit rock bottom. They'll always come up. They might take some blows here and there, but they come out firing.
Yeah, they will come out firing, and they did just that. They did just that. Now, let me say this. Some people criticize this program. They say that, we are so critical of the police and this and that. But despite what they're saying, we have been making an impact. You recall, we campaigned heavily for the removal of the Spanish word from the police vehicle, the policia, or policia, as my Spanish-speaking friend would say. and the pressure built, and they had to remove it. More recently, we were highlighting the fact that Inspector Roop, who was charged with a sexual offense in April, of this year, was still on the job. He was still on the job working. And I am pleased to say that the information is that Roop has finally received his interdiction letter sometime last week, Friday or thereabout. So he is now interdicted, Inspector Roop. But let me say this. I think I've said it before. I don't know Roop. I have nothing against Roop. Roop is charged and he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. But what I'm talking about is the aspect of the rule of law, which says that each and every citizen should be treated equally. And I made the point because people who are charged and placed before the court in recent times have been summarily dismissed. People like Damon McLennan, right, who recently graduated with a master's degree. You have the people involved in the Quindon Bacchus case. You have the 3 young constables from Borbies who were summarily dismissed. No presumption of innocence. And you have a man charged with a sexual offense, and he's there on the job, nothing happening. And I did say that at the time when he was charged, there wasn't a functional police service commission. We could understand that. But the police service commission became fully constituted in July of this year. And it was to see that from July to September to November, perhaps it's the pressure that we brought to bear caused them to react, and Roop is now interdicted. And I say I don't know him. I don't. If I see, I don't know him from Adam. But the point is, each and every one of us should be treated equally. If it is that the system is that when you're charged, you should be interdicted, then what makes Roop so exceptional? And it doesn't escape us, it didn't escape me, that the people who were summarily dismissed of our particular ethnic group, and the man who was kept on is of another group. It can't escape us. That is a fact. And they could go and they could say whatever they want to say. Those are facts before us. And as we continue to say, facts are stubborn things. Facts are stubborn things. Let me bring in CC to make a comment on that, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah, we will continue to highlight, not that we really attacking people, but we believe in the rule of law. And then if a man is to be interdicted, he must be interdicted. It doesn't mean to say that he is guilty of the offense, but you follow the established procedure. You are charged with a criminal offense. Next thing, interdiction. As simple as that.
That is what how the system should operate, and it should operate in the same manner for everyone. It should operate in the same manner for everyone. Now, CC, I know this is going to be up in your alley as a man who was involved in training all the years. I noted a few days ago that a release which says that the Justice Education Society, in partnership with Canada, is conducting the first ever senior management training with the senior officers of the Guyana Police Force. So let me read what there's a release that came out from the police, and the police said, let me read it quickly before I bring you into comment. The Justice Education Society, in partnership with Canada, is conducting the first ever senior management training with the senior officers of the Guyana Police Force. The trainer week-long workshop will see look at areas such as facilitating of skills, the facilitation of skills for strengthening justice for women, girls, and indigenous people throughout Guyana. Then they said Deputy Commissioner Operations, Mr. Ravindranath Budram, Regional Police Commanders, Officer in charge of the Tactical Services Unit, the Officer in charge of the Guyana Police Force Musical Department, and the Force Training Officer, among other senior officers, are among those at the training this morning. The training will take place at the Guyana Police Force Officers Training Center and will conclude on November the 18th. That is what they said, CC. So let me hear your take on this trainer, the trainer for those senior. The first thing that struck me is that this thing involved, according to the release, Deputy Commissioner and all of these people. We don't know they get any Deputy Commissioner apart from Paul Williams, but that is what it's saying, the man in charge of the band room, and that is what the release said. Let me hear your comment on this one. Please go ahead.
total nonsense. And it says capacity building for regional commanders and key heads of department. Imagine you're in a train, in the trainers course. Huh? Those are courses that you do for corporals, instructors, so that they be able to do lesson plan. What the police should really do, because training is in a mess, yeah? They should do a job task analysis countrywide. It's a scientific analysis. It's expensive. It's time consuming. They had it done in Jamaica. I remember I did it in Jamaica when I was there. They had it done in Barbados, in Trinidad. A job task analysis that you're able to identify training needs. And based on those training needs. And you train because there's a need. You telling me there's a need for regional commanders and key heads of department to be trained to prepare them to do lesson plan, which is critical for summary delivery, and I'm quoting the words there. No, 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 wait, those are courses for couples, for basic instructors. Well, they even get instructors now with at the college. There's another story. And you're trained because there's a need. And if you're telling me there's a need for regional commanders and key heads of department to be trained to prepare lesson plan, well then woe be unto the Guyana Police Force. Woe be unto the Guyana Police Force. And it can't be the first kind of training for senior officers. I can boast that the last senior officer course that was conducted for was conducted was run by me, and they had input from is between the Guyana Police Force, the college, and the University of Guyana, and where we had members of the joint services, including member of the city constabulary, the head of city constabulary, were on the program. Hicken was on the program too, and since I left there, they didn't have any other, and it was not 1 week program. It was a 1 month intensive training program, and we have had other training for senior officers since Larry Lewis time. We had training, but not regularly. So bring in senior officers, regional commanders, and key heads of department, and you're training them on lesson plan. It's a waste of time, a waste of money, and a waste of everything. And there's a document that I prepare. I might sound a little boastful, but I gotta blow my own trumpet sometime. That I prepared and was adopted by Larry Lewis. And it's not easy to get Larry Lewis to adopt anything, especially if the initiative didn't come from him. I prepare a 32-page document entitled Training Policy and Procedure, which the British government highly praise. And the thing is that if you're training, you have to have a policy and you have to have a plan. And I don't know where the policy and plan where it is. And when we're talking about training, when this when I think Clement Rory was the Home Affairs Minister, we had what you call a comprehensive training plan, a 1 year comprehensive training plan under the Citizen Security Program, where it is run by a company based in Washington that one of the emergence group. And they brought down their persons there who spent they had a manager there, a country manager, spent 1 year. But I was the point man for the Guyana Police Force here. And we conducted 29 training programs, design, implement 20 and conduct 29 training programs for all levels of policemen, from the senior ranks down to the recruit training program. And on the top of there, let me tell you some of the programs that we did. Things like effectively dealing with people, policing multicultural and diverse society, crime scene management, effective investigation, and a whole host of other programs that they're on. The idea was that at the end of the program, end of the 1 year, we will do the training there, replicate what was done. I continue it. After I continue, I handed over to Paul Williams, Dr. Paul, who's now Dr. Paul Williams. He continued, And then when Hicken took over from him, Hicken scrapped that training program. Millions of dollars that was invested by the government of Guyana was done, was just thrown aside. That no other program was done. 29 training programs. We have the trainers module. We have the instructor module. We have things in soft copy, hard copy. All those things that we left there. Instead of sending the policemen to overseas, we brought America to Guyana, and we did the training using the best practices and all kind of thing. Wonderful program. Perhaps Woodans must be eating out those manuals that we had there. So that thing what they do there, Paul, is total nonsense. And we got to look at the Guyana Police Force training. What they're doing in training, they're not doing anything in training. The force training officer has no training background. The commandant Borbis of the Borbis College has no training background. The commandant in Georgetown has no training background. The commandant in Escribo has no training background, and they are head of training. How training could be effective? They're giving lip service, as what my late friend and mentor, Mr. Samuel Small, used to say, be treating training as an unmarried, unwanted stepdaughter.
And it is reflected in the performance. It is reflected in the performance. Now, moving on. Over the weekend, and even on this thing, people talking about this 83. Now, I ain't gonna say much about it. Let me start out by saying, are we talking here about the extended squatter making a presentation and saying that he will tell you he went to school, multi, primary, secondary, and then he went on to say that we all know he was taught all the years and he understood that Guyana is 83 square miles. Now let me say this. It is clear that he made a mistake. Let me give that to him. It is clear that he made a mistake. We all make mistakes. I have made mistakes on numerous occasions on this program. I make mistakes all the time. Sometimes when I look back at the program, to grammatical and other mistakes that I have made, I cringe. Why is mistake? That is in life, but it's how you deal with it. I remember not so long ago speaking about the way the now second vice president ascended to office in 1990. I was saying 1997 when Ms. Jagan came into office, and instead of saying 1997, I think I said 1977. I didn't realize it. But when I looked at the comments, I recognized that I had said something wrong. So I asked the question, did I say something wrong? And then I backtrack. And I go back and say, look, let me give you the sequence. And now the man said 83. And when somebody pointed out to him, he said, no, I said 83,000. And then what I laugh about taking the words out and say, y'all are not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening. But that is the way how these egotistical and narcissists operate. That is the problem. The problem is not you make a mistake. We will all make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Pronunciation, grammar, I make mistakes all the time. But I'm man enough to own up and try to learn from your mistakes. I remember going to UG many years ago, and one of the first paper I did, and I sent to Theo Morris, the late Theo Morris. I spelled a word incorrectly. Can't remember what the word is. I spelled a word incorrectly on more than one occasion in the same paper. And Theo then underlined and made his comments. I have never made that same mistake again. Because you learn from your mistakes. You have to learn from your mistakes. And this, as I said, is not a one-off story. Let me tell you, it's not a one-off. It's not a one-off. And then what makes matters to me worse is the attempt to damage control. And let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. Rather than accept it's a mistake and move on, they put out a look. Let me show you. They put out this. This came out. See, this is what came out sometime after. I think the mistake was made Thursday or sometime then, and then shortly after, this is a release, and in the release, which seeks to um, to say, well, we know that it's 83,000 square miles. They're making mistake again, grammatical mistake in the same thing. So you're making matters worse rather than just allow it to go. But there's how narcissists operate. You can't make mistakes, so that when you in fact make a mistake and it is pointed out, you have to come with this stupid thing that you have there. And I noted too, and I would wish for the Attorney General to say, a man who speaks about constitutional atrocities, when he claimed that the coalition government appointed Nigel Appy to act as commissioner without following the constitution, which wasn't the case. But here it is, they extended squatter. I've seen this on the billboard, and the commissioner of police, Mr. Clifton Ikin. And as far as I know, Clifton Ikin was made commissioner of police acting, but they do away with the acting, because if you look at the billboard that they have where they respect the road, there's no acting any longer. So perhaps the Attorney General can tell the nation about this constitutional atrocity in making Clifton Ikin acting without the necessary constitutional consultations. Let me bring in CC for him to have his say. I'm going to leave up the thing there. CC, what do you say on this poster or this flyer, whatever you want to call it?
Well, sometimes we all make mistakes, but when you make the same mistakes twice, is another story. And I remember early when they had arranged for Hikin and others to address the diaspora, he said Guyana has a population of 760, full stop. Guyana has a population of 760. Perhaps like a man has scribbled, the zeros and get value. The zeros are important. And here is the talking about 83. So the zeros will make it 83,000, not there. And also, as you mentioned, I didn't got to know, like you, Paul, we didn't got to know secondary school. Neither we didn't got to know multilateral school. But we knew a bit of English, and we knew when to use apostrophe. We know when to use singular and plural. And also, you can't say I reiterate, because if you say reiterate, it means to say that you already said something and you're repeating what you say. The whole thing is a mockery. They're trying to hear you. I want to reiterate. He didn't say 83,000 square miles. So how he could reiterate? Huh? Total nonsense. When you're wrong, you must say you're wrong and you must apologize. You must apologize and tell no, I'm wrong, and correct yourself. And I said before, he said Guyana population was 760. Perhaps he had given away the most of Guyana, so maybe he's right. Or 760.
Look at here. This is a presentation. This is a presentation last year, April or something like that, to the diaspora. And if you see National Security Overview, look at the top in green. That is what the commissioner. And he said, this is a PowerPoint presentation. Guyana is a development nation with a population of approximately 750 persons. Right? So as you rightly pointed out, it apparently comes from this Baji. Let me explain to the younger ones. The other man on the Eskimo Coast, Hopkinson, they used to call him Baji. And Baji said not can get value. Whether it's before or after, knots have no value. So perhaps this mark has come from the Baji school. So you drop the thousands for the Guyana's square mileage, and you drop the thousands too in terms of population, them not getting value. So it's 750 persons, and it's 83 square miles. Again, I am convinced that it's a mistake. And we can all make mistakes. But it's what you do thereafter. Don't double down. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. You don't even want to apologize, but move on. Because I believe, strongly so, that not a single person who listened to that thing believe that the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, does not know that Guyana is 83,000 square miles and not just 83. People know it's a mistake. Accept your mistake and move on. But you come in with flyer and you come in with all sort of thing. And in the flyer now, you're making grammatical mistake and all of that. So that is compounding the thing and show how narcissistic this person is. That is the whole thing, right? That is it. So CC, let me just say this. I don't want to dwell on it much longer because people have been, he has been pilloried over social media, over this thing, all sort of memes and all sort of things, perhaps with justification. And just like I am saying, a lot of people have said the no is a mistake. They know that it's a mistake, but what people are critical of is the way how he then attempted to tell you, you're not listening. I found that so amusing. You're not listening. You're not listening. And then he said publicly, I did say 83. And it reminds me, and apparently there's a problem. If you remember the now traffic chief, Mahendra Singh, at the Ilfoot on the east on the highway, he said to the camera, Travis Chase was recording it, and he said, these people on the radio, he was talking to somebody, he said, they're all thugs. They're all thugs. And when he was questioned as to why he's referring to these people protesting the thug, he denied saying that. I never said that. I never, and it is there recorded. It is there recorded. So I don't know what gives with these people. Again, I say, we all make mistakes. We all. As I said on this program, I have made several. When I go back sometime and I look back at the program, I cringe at some of the grammatical and other mistakes that I have made. But that is the way of life. You just move on. You move on. Try not to make them again, and you move on. But if you're a narcissist, then you're not going to move on because you're going to try to convince people, as he tried to do, that, look, I did not make a mistake. I said 83,000 square miles. Now, let me say this. It seems to me that there is a special school. This school, and well, I can't call it a math school. This school is a subtraction school, not a math school. Because math, you got to deal with all sort of fancy calculus and algebra, and there's maths. But this is a subtraction school. So you subtract from the 83,000 square mile. I left it at 83. You subtract from this approximately 750,000 persons, and you make it 750. Gone over to the prison, you subtract from the 15-year sentence, you take off 7 years off the 15 years. You go to the ministry of wherever it is, you at 214.4 million, suddenly becomes a 3 million. And even with the same extended squatter, remember he was to be 55 some time ago, but he subtract and he only reached 55 this year. So this is a school, is a special school of subtraction. All they're teaching you is subtraction. And I will tell you of some more subtraction in a short while, because in October of this year, the police traffic department gave a release to say that at that time, you had 171 fatalities on the roads of Guyana. And when they did the thing on Thursday, the traffic chief said no 151. So more subtraction. That got to be a special school, a school that only teaches subtraction. No addition, no multiplication, no division, nothing else, just subtraction. CC, are you aware of that school, the subtraction school?
Yeah, I think it was recently opened. It was recently opened. And they could subtract good. But on a lighter note, you mentioned about Baji, and they said now it's get value before or after. You gotta be careful because my wife is sitting and she watching the program, she listening, and Baji was her uncle, So I might run into some blows, or you might run into some blows too.
Well, I have to say the thing that hereditary. So they passed down in the family. It has not passed down in the family. So yeah, that was a joke about Baji. We had all of these jokes, over the years. Nobody said this is true, but it comes out as folklore. I mean, say Baji said nothing get value. So forget about the thing. Put it anyway. Yeah. See. Let me move on. Now, I noted that the U.S. fact-finding mission had a lot of engagements when they were in Guyana. I noted they reported too that when they went to Linden, people attempted to disrupt or actually disrupted the sit-in and all of that. All I want to say, that the people I don't know if they have left, and they're going to come up and they're going to listen to what people have to say. The government decided they're not going to interact, they're going to engage them. The private sector said something similar that they're not going to engage them. Ooh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But I'm saying at the end of the day, the evidence is there of discrimination. We talk about one this very morning with Ruth. Man charged criminally before the court, police officer, police inspector, and no attempt to have him interdicted. That is discrimination when at the same time you are dismissing summarily junior ranks from the force. Some unlawfully, some unconstitutionally, these people are dismissed. And this one man who wasn't to be dismissed, he was to be interdicted because, as we said, there's a presumption of innocence. And so right away you have evidence there of discrimination. And I'm sure a lot of things will be given to them. And let me say this again too. Those people are intelligent people. They're not going to accept whatever is given to them by whoever. So whether it's the groups that they interacted with, they're not going to accept it on face value. They're going to do their own investigation. They're going to make sure they know the facts. That is how these things would work. Cece, what are your views on that?
I agree with you, Paul. And I think they're rational men and women. And part of the disruption too, the people blaming is that the police didn't provide no security. Perhaps, they say no security for them, so person. It was designed that way so that person could have disrupted the meetings. But I know there's a lot of disaggregated information, evidence available, and they got those evidence, so they're going to come to their own conclusion, Paul.
They will come to their own conclusion, and then when they get the report, then the government can hustle and say all sort of thing and so on. Well, let me move on. I want to cover some other issues, some other very important issues this morning. Now, the other thing that we want to speak about, as I alluded to earlier, is the road accidents. Road accidents. We had this terrible accident on, I think it was whenever, that killed this policewoman in front of the BV police station. Now, there are several things that came out of that whole unfortunate incident. One, the loss of life, of course, other policemen injured, and I wish the injured policemen and women a speedy recovery. But, the thing that's stood out to me is, and I've seen it all around the place, that the police ranks on duty, especially traffic ranks, and they're not limited to traffic ranks, they don't pay enough attention to their own safety. And I want to take this opportunity to tell all the ranks that you are responsible for your safety. And I say all the ranks because I saw not so long ago some police ranks sitting on the back of a pickup truck, sitting on the rim, on the edge of this pickup truck. And I know that if the thing should fall in some hole, or if the driver has to apply the brakes suddenly, possibilities they're going to fall and injure themselves. They're not paying attention to their safety. Now, with this incident in front of BV police station, they say, according to the commander, there was a snap roadblock. Mr. Commander, that is not a snap roadblock. I used to teach the establishment of roadblocks when I was an instructor at the TSU for a number of years. The establishment of a roadblock. That is not a roadblock. A roadblock has certain characteristics. You call it a snap roadblock. Well, it is not a stop. It is not an established, nor is it a proper checkpoint. It is not. Because if you have a roadblock, and this is not to say that the person who killed this person is not culpable, because it is clear that the man, they say under the influence, drove through, and when you see the impact, when you see the damage to the car, man must have been speeding. So this is not to absolve him, but the thing is that when you're going to set up a roadblock, you have to have these safety measures in place, proper barriers with proper lights and so on. That is how roadblocks are set up. You get nail board and all of these things in case somebody attempts to drive past. So, so Commander, if you're going to talk about roadblock, make sure, and I don't think these people know how to set up a proper roadblock. But I hope this incident serves as a catalyst, unfortunate as it is, to make sure that the safety of the police ranks, the safety, and not only on the traffic duties, all duties, is of paramount importance. Safety is important. Whether you're working beat whether you're patrolling in a vehicle, whether you're standing on the road. A friend of mine told me over the weekend that when you look at traffic ranks operating in Guyana and all, he said it seems as though they believe that once you put on a white sleeve and ropes and then white gloves, then you are invincible. How some of them stand up on the road and how they direct the traffic. But the point is, they have to be trained. This is not something you can come and just like that. They say no. You have to have the adequate, proper training to know how you position yourself in the intersection, or how you give signals and all of that. And it is clear that those things are absent. So in the absence of the proper training, I want to plead with the individual ranks. Please make sure that you do everything to stay safe. And having said that, I want to know wonder what the police association, because all of this happening, policewoman killed, policeman killed earlier this year. Remember the man got shot in Maikoni, his colleague shooty. Policemen are beaten all over the place, and the police association that is supposed to be looking into the welfare of ranks are the associated is quiet. They were put there, installed there, to provide persons for the police service commission. And apparently once they did that, once they presented that list that was given to them, then I'm not aware of them doing anything else to address the welfare of the ranks. Before I begin, Mr. Conway, let me read this part as I'm telling you of the disingenuous nature of these people. I don't know why they believe they have to lie about the statistics, whether it's crime, whether it's fatalities. Why do they think that they have to lie about this thing? And let me read this. This is in Guyana Times. I don't read Guyana Times regularly, but when I'm doing my research, I research all over. Guyana Times of October the 11th, 2023. Guyana Times, October 11, 2023. Headline, Guyana records over 171 road deaths so far for 2003. That is as of October 11th. And they go on to say, some 171 persons have lost their lives on the country's roadways between January 1 and October the 8th. This was revealed in a recent report by the Guyana Police Force. Of this number, 138 persons died from fatal accidents, otherwise known, and I found this very interesting, otherwise known as vehicle collisions or collisions involving pedestrian and cyclists. Meanwhile, 33 persons died from fatal incidents in which collisions with stationary objects such as poles and trenches, collision with trenches, were involved. And then they go on and they go on. But I'm saying this, it was 171 October deaths. And they're making this distinction between fatal accidents and fatal incidents. We have never heard that before, because according to this release that they gave, they're saying that a fatal accident is only when a vehicle collides with a vehicle or a vehicle collides with a cyclist or a pedestrian. And they further say that if a vehicle collides with a lamppost, or they say collide with a trench, I don't know where you collide with a trench, or a vehicle go overboard, or perhaps collide with an animal that is straying on the road, those things are not recorded as fatal accidents. They record them as incidents. But I want them to know that the primary consideration as a former two-time traffic chief is whether this thing occurred on a road. Once it occurred on a road, and the definition of road is clear in the Roads Act. Road, clear definition. Once it occurs on the road, it is a fatal accident. The incidents we used to remember very well mainly occurred in rice fields or somewhere in the back dam where somebody might be operating a tractor, the tractor turns over, kill that person. Well, anyhow, it's not on the road, and those were recorded as incidents. But all of a sudden now, if a car runs into a donkey on the road and somebody dies, if a speeding car runs into a cow or a lamppost and person are killed, then it is no longer a fatal accident, it is a fatal incident. That is what they are saying. That is what they are saying. And as I said, that is part of the disingenuous nature of what is going on. So in October, you had 171, got it totally then. But at the presentation on Thursday, It's 151. So going back to that school of subtraction. Let me bring in, and before I move on, I almost forgot to tell people that that incident in front of BD police station is not the first time a policeman was killed right there in 1976, I think it was, sometime around middle of the 70s. A policeman, a Corporal Passad, 7138, I think his number was. He was from Essequibo Coast, was working a roadblock there in the morning, and a car crashed into him and killed him. He was buried right, as a matter of fact, he was buried right at the cemetery opposite the police station. They didn't take him back to Essequibo. I remember that incident very, very well. Very well, I remember that incident. Right? And you see, these things are not used as teaching experiences to let people know. You cannot tell me that you're conducting a roadblock there without the necessary safety measures. You have to cater for the safety measures. Those measures are reflectors way off. And first of all, you can't do a roadblock at that location because it's right at the intersection. So if you're going to do a roadblock there, as the commander says, a stop roadblock, and a man coming on, you get something illegal, or you just turn in one of the roads and he avoids you. So you can't do a roadblock here. Yes, a roadblock, and that, as I've said, wasn't a roadblock, has to be strategically placed to avoid people getting away from you and all of that. Don't want to go into all the details in this program because this is something that any and everybody can listen to. But I'm saying, and I have there's some comments here from the minister who suddenly appears this morning. I saw in the newspaper, the minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Robson, is making some comments in respect to the same unfortunate incident. But let me bring in my colleague and then I'll go back to what the minister said. CC, your take on this most unfortunate and tragic incident where the policewoman was killed.
Let me give some context to this thing, that you're talking about roadblocks, and according to the lawyer, and I always like to go to the law, chapter 1601, section 26. It had on the heading road barriers, section 26.1, and I want to read it. Just bear with me. 26.1 says, notwithstanding any other act, any officer, inspector, or subordinate officer may, if he considers necessary so to do, for the maintenance and preservation of law and order, or for the prevention or detection of crime, erect or place or cause to be erected or place barriers in or across any road or street or in any public place within Guyana in such manner as he may think fit. And let me read section 2 saying, any member of the force may take all reasonable steps to prevent any vehicle being driven past such barrier, and any driver or of any vehicle who fails to comply with any reasonable signal of a member of the force in uniform requiring such person to stop such vehicle before reaching any such barrier shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine of $48,750 and to imprisonment of 12 months. So this thing talking about setting up barriers. And Paul, you mentioned about roadblocks. And roadblocks got to be properly established. And even if you conducting the road barriers there, that you got to look at what we call occupation safety and health. Look at the safety and health of the persons. Last week we mentioned about where they had police traffic ranks climbing up on ladders for performing duty. Occupation safety and health has to come into play. And according to the Act, each department must have a committee, occupation safety and health committee. I don't know if the police has any, but the thing is, the law covers you, but the thing got to be properly set up, and it's got to be at strategic locations. But what's going on is total nonsense, and then we're going to go on later in terms of the minister's reaction. But the police has the power, but then they're setting up things all about the place and calling roadblock. if you go right now to the police station at Welded, they get some barrels there, they set them up there, and when they finish, they don't remove them. I passed there about three something on Friday morning, and there the barriers are up, but nobody's there performing any duties, but a barrier in the middle of the road. If you when you finish with your barriers, you remove them, and next time when you go to you erect them. But no, Fort Windham, Welded Police Station, barriers are there permanently on the road on the roadway. They finish the work and they don't remove them. So we gotta be careful what we do, and we gotta look at the health of the people, the health and safety of our workers, not only in setting up road barriers, but in other aspects of policing.
Yeah, that is so true. And we have the thing here, as you can see, this is the ladder that you're referring to. Now, you tell me if that is not a safety hazard to have a policeman in the middle of the intersection. This is Brickdiamond Avenue Republic standing. That is Ben's initiative. That is the initiative of the Minister of Home Affairs. I understand. That is what he said, right? He's reported to upset. He wants them to be more visible. So among them on a ladder, you give them a white glove. I don't know how that is going to contribute to better traffic management. And then, of course, we also have the situation where, bear with me a minute, we also have the situation, just bear with me 1 minute, please. You have the situation where, in addition to all of that, that no proper training, no proper training. And in all that is going on, this morning the minister came out and, well, yesterday, whenever he made a statement, I'm going to read part of it in a short while. It shows that these people are clueless as to how to deal with this traffic situation. And I said before, I repeat for emphasis, this is not a police thing any longer. This thing has gotten so bad, it cannot be about enforcement alone. It cannot be about enforcement. Because if you recall, about 2 weeks ago, a man struck and killed a cyclist across the river. He was tested and found to be over the legal limit. He went to court, he pleaded guilty, and he was fined $50,000. Now, police can't do anything about that. You charge, you place before the court, you expect that the courts will do or play their part. And that is what we have. The traffic chief speaks about in the same release last week, or in the same release that I read, about thousands of traffic tickets being issued. And the question is, how many of those tickets are paid? And what mechanisms are in place to ensure payment? And in the absence of payment, whether ex parte trials are held and those persons having been found guilty, warrants are issued for their arrest. It's a whole system. It's not just issuing a ticket. Do they have a traffic magistrate in Georgetown in particular? I remember years ago, a lady by the name of Krishna Vinichinta, I think she was from Sri Lanka, Sharon Eden. Those were feared traffic magistrates. Much later, you had Fitzgerald, yeah, but he wasn't all that feared. But you had dedicated magistrate to deal with traffic cases. You don't have that. You have a runaway traffic situation, and you don't have those mechanisms in place to deal with it. And therefore, it's going to continue to get even worse. God forbids. Because if you don't address it in an holistic and comprehensive way, you're going to have these issues. And the minister said, hear what the minister says. In addition to extending condolences to the family of Constable Annette Abel, who died while performing roadblock duties at the BV police station, Minister of Home Affairs Robson announced that a comprehensive incident review will be conducted to identify the best ways to promote safety in the aftermath of that event with an aim to mitigate any potential risk. He then made the announcement in a press release while extending his condolences to the family and friends of Abel, who lost her life last Thursday night after a driver lost control of a speeding car and struck her down while she was manning a roadblock outside the BV police station. The minister said that the tragic event was disheartening and expressed his sincere condolences to all affected by this devastating incident, including Guyana Police Force, they really said. He said a lot of other things, which I'm not going to go in. But one of the first thing I want to say, that this comprehensive review, what he said, let me quote, announced that a comprehensive incident review will be conducted to identify the best ways to promote safety in the aftermath of that event with an aim to mitigate any potential risk. Here it is, the minister telling us about after action review. And I was taught that that is an operational issue. And according to the law, 1601, the minister should be dealing with policy. I would have thought, according to the law again, that the person to issue something like that to tell you about comprehensive review of the incident would have been the man who sits in the commissioner's chair, the extended squatter. I would have thought that would have been his responsibility. But it seems that the minister is usurping the authority of the man who sits in the commissioner's chair, the extended squatter. Let me bring in CC before I get back. CC, what is your take on this thing, man?
First thing, the minister classifying it as an incident, so it's not a fatal accident anymore. It's an incident, and as you rightly mentioned, the minister is responsible for policy, and the extended squatter is the operations. And then when we get in the problem where the minister is getting involved in operational matters. The minister could say, I want crime reduced by 16%. That might be the point, but he can't tell me who I must get as commander and where I must place them and who must be my crime chief and them kind of thing. Though. And Paul, the thing is that you mentioned about subtraction, and they added another dimension to it, because if I saw recently somebody was involved in an accident and died a couple of weeks after in the hospital, and they're saying hey, that's not a fatal accident because the person didn't die from an accident, died because of poor medical treatment. So they're messing up the whole thing, and the minister can't get involved in that. Somebody must put a stop into it. But then maybe they can get stones, they can get backbone, to stand up to the minister and quote the law, well, for the matter, they extended, and some of them acting, so there's a whole story there. They can't think, but the whole thing is that I agree, well, a proper investigation should be done, but don't tell me about no incident. It is not an incident. No way that should be classified as an incident. And we need to go back to basics. There are many directions available, many things to tell you about the operation of a roadblock, and person must be get proper training. Proper training in the institute, not like what going on down at BV or what going on right now at outside the Welded police station. Those things must stop forthwith, and they must come together and get a proper policy and procedure in how to do with road barriers.
Yeah, because somebody said on the chat here that on the comments of the old soldier, and he made the point I said before that is not a roadblock. Roadblock, as all roadblocks have established arrangements as how they are done. The equipment should be there. But all I want to say is that when they have these things that they call these so-called roadblocks, safety of the ranks should be paramount. The safety of the ranks should be paramount, so therefore they must have proper barriers with lights and all of that. Safety must be paramount. You can't get ranks standing up in the night on the road with these reckless drivers that you have and believe that because you're a police, you're invincible. It's so unfortunate. This thing is so upsetting. And as I've said, I hope they use this as the minister said, comprehensive review, and they should stop immediately. Stop going out on the road in that manner, in the nights in particular, to say that you're doing road. Because they are not roadblocks. They are not. If you want to call them a checkpoint, call them a checkpoint. Because if you check the manuals tell you how a roadblock should be established. I know. I used to teach it and I used to work it. Roadblocks all over this place, all the place. A roadblock, a proper roadblock, calls for a lot of equipment, safety equipment, barriers and lights and all of that. And you have so many modern stuff now, because long ago, when you go to do a proper roadblock, you used to get lanterns. You light the lanterns and you put them on the barriers. So to alert people as to what is going on. Now you get all sort of fancy reflective stuff and all of that. Take away some of these fancy light what people get on the vehicle, these illegal lights, and put them on the roadblock, on the barriers, so people can know that police people are there. These reckless people. And it is to be noted too, I talk about all this thing, all should be involved. I note from one of the releases that the driver who is alleged to have been under the influence or above the legal limit, let me put it this way, above the legal limit, was previously charged with causing death by dangerous driving. And he got off. So apparently the man has a record of driving recklessly. So he killed the police now. Let's see what will happen. I would suspect that he's going to be charged for the driving under the influence. Let's see what the penalty will be. Then at some time, once the post-mortem examination is done on the police, I expect him to be charged for causing death by dangerous driving. And people have been saying in the letters and all of that, they talk about taking away license, they talk about suspension, they talk about disqualification. Because you have to comply with the law. And the law clearly states that if a person is charged with causing death by dangerous driving, the licensing authority can suspend the license pending the outcome of that charge. Let me explain that again. If a person is charged, the only time a license can be suspended, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if there's been any amendment, is if you're charged with causing death by dangerous driving, then the licensing authority, who is the Minister of Home Affairs, can suspend the license of that person pending the outcome of the charge of causing death by dangerous driving. I don't know when last that system, even though you have so many persons charged, I don't know if they're suspending license. Now, when it comes to the other aspect of what we say banning a person from driving, if a person is convicted for certain offenses in the magistrate code, then the magistrate can suspend the license. Well, that's not suspend, I'm using the wrong term. Can, what they say, can ban you from driving for a period, right? From holding or obtaining. That is what the law say. So that once you're convicted in the magistrate code for certain traffic offenses, you can, and it used to happen frequently in the past. But again, I say you have to have a proper system. In every event where a person is charged for causing death by dangerous driving, there should be a quick process to have that person's license suspended. In every case, bar none. Because if you're going to charge, it means that you have prima facie that the person has committed the act. And you should go through the process. I know it's a long process because I was involved in it. Because you send to the DPP thing, then you write to the licensing authority. But all of these things can be speeded up to make sure that it is done very efficiently. And the magistrates, I'm saying, prosecutors have to make sure that they make that case to the magistrate, make a sentence in time, that the person should be barred from holding or obtaining a driver's license for a period of time. And that is one of the things that is going to make this thing become more acceptable, because of what is going on now. I don't know, all our precious resources, people being killed almost every day on the roads in Ghana. I have not been able to go through the other accidents that occurred over the past week or so. But yeah, Kevin, driving is a privilege. And the privilege should be taken away from you if you're not operating in a proper way. You go around this town, you say craziness you're seeing on the road. It is craziness, madness on the road all the time. Madness on the road. And as I've said, it is not about enforcement alone. And you know, it annoys me when I see you talk about police dealing with education and police dealing with, that shouldn't be a police function in all of this thing. Any education for the police department should be very limited. You have a Ministry of Education, you have a Ministry of Responsible Transport. We have said here it is time that you establish a Department of Transportation to look at the issuing of license, to look at the fitness of vehicles and all of that. This thing has to have a comprehensive review. Minister Ben, is not only the accident. Yes, you need to do an after action a review of what transpired there, and that is not your is not within your remit. The people responsible should be doing that. But at the government level, much more needs to be done. Let me bring in CC before we wrap up this subject, and let's move on to something about Venezuela. Yes, CC.
And I think they amended the law recently. I don't think I don't know if it's been enforced that in terms like that, when a person is killed, motorist, the person could be charged with a manslaughter, motor manslaughter. Somewhere along the thing, I think I read it along the line.
Well, I hope if it is so amended, maybe this will be a test case, and let's get this thing going. Let's get it going, because there's too many reckless drivers on the road. And let me say this, as a driver myself, many times you are 100% correct. You, the driver, you're doing everything that the law requires you to do. You are driving within the speed limit. You're driving on the left or near side of the road, and you are as cautious as you can be expected to be. And if some joker will come who is reckless and crash into you or cause an accident, you're not at fault. They cause an accident. So that's why all of us, and as I've said too, it is not only about drivers, all categories. People walking across the road, there's a pedestrian crossing 10 feet away, and they're not using the pedestrian crossing to cross. They want to walk right across the road. Minibuses stopping any place and pulling out any place. Cyclists, motorcyclists, pedal cyclists. You have animals on the road. Truck drivers believe that they have a license to kill. And as someone told me this morning, we don't have people who drive fast. I said, no, they don't drive fast. They fly low. They don't drive fast. They fly low. They are pilots. They are ground pilots. And something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. But let me move on to the Venezuela issue. As we have said, every week we're going to talk something about Venezuela. And, they're ratcheting it up. Let me play something here, which perhaps is a very good introduction to this thing. This is in Venezuela. Let me see where it is. Over the weekend, I understand, in preparation for this December 3rd referendum, this is part of what they're doing. Look at this here.
El Esequibo es nuestro.
Vota 5 veces. Vota sí. Vamos, hermanos, a protegerlo.
Big campaign in Venezuela for the December 3rd referendum, saying basically there that Esequibo belongs to them. And come what may, they are going to have the referendum. And we know the result of the referendum is a fait accompli. They don't know they're going to vote yes to all the 5 questions that have been asked. Because what people are saying now, people who are who know what's going on, that whereas at the commencement of this aggressive move by the Venezuelan president, the opposition parties were not supportive. But now they all fall in line and they're coming down. So everybody believes that should have this referendum, and everyone believes that Esequibo should be annexed to Venezuela. And what are we doing? Let me show you one of the things that we are doing. Let me show you. This is so beyond the pale.
Belongs to Guyana. Esequibo belongs to Guyana. Esequibo belongs to Guyana. Esequibo belongs to Guyana. Any other thing? Esequibo belongs to Guyana. Esequibo belongs to Guyana. Esequibo belongs to Guyana. That's a blade of grass. Not one blue saki. Not one rice grain.
This is part of the response. This thing is so comical. This thing is so comical. The person who organized that comical arrangement, apparently somebody asked me if it's one of these satirical shows that we have at the end of the year, Stretch Out Magazine or No Big Thing. That is what we have. We cannot be serious about this thing. The Venezuelans are dead serious about the referendum, because the vice president told the International Court of Justice that on the December 3rd, Venezuela is having the referendum because they claim that that's an internal issue. And then what we have the president at a press conference on Saturday at the Artichon Cultural Center, and he made some statements. Let me read a few, because we got to continue with this on Wednesday. But quickly, let me tell you, the president expressed confidence that the ICJ will rule in Guyana's favor in relation to the precautionary measures sought. You know, Guyana went to the ICJ to seek some precautionary measures. I think they made their argument on the 15th, and Venezuela responded on the, Guyana made an argument on the 14th, Venezuela responded on the 15th, and we are now awaiting the ruling from the ICJ. This is the ruling in respect to the referendum and in respect to the precautionary measures that Guyana asked for. And the president went on to say, he's quoted there saying, after the hearing on the 14th and 15th at the ICJ in The Hague, Guyana is confident that the court has understood its petition, and within a short time, it will issue an order directing Venezuela not to take any action for which it seeks the endorsement of its people on December 3rd. Guyana is confident that the court will order Venezuela not to take any action that violates or interferes with its rights to and in the Essequibo region during the remainder of this case, until the court has ruled on the legal validity of the 1899 arbitral award on Guyana's external rights to this territory. Then they said, we need to expect, that is what the president is quoted as saying, we neither expect nor need the court to stop Venezuela from holding this referendum. What we expect and what I need is an order from the court preventing Venezuela from carrying out any of its hostile actions that might be endorsed by the referendum, or any other action that interferes with Guyana's sovereign rights. Such orders issued by the court are binding on parties. Under the UN Charter, all states are solemnly bound to comply with the court's order, which could be enforced by the UN Security Council. We expect Venezuela's compliance with whatever the court orders. We do not expect that Venezuela would put itself in outright defiance of the court or in flagrant breach of the international obligations, of its international obligations. Then he goes on to say, we expect Venezuela to fully accept the ICJ court order, and Guyana renews its call for Venezuela under the 1966 Geneva Agreement to participate fully in these court proceedings and to comply with the court's final judgment, whatever that may be. Let me just say, the Venezuela vice president on the 14th, or whenever informed, no, on the 4th, let me read it. Venezuela vice president informed the 40-member panel of justices that our country's participation in the hearing by no way, let me read it back. The country's participation in the hearing by way of submissions ought not to be interpreted as recognition of the jurisdiction of the court to hear the controversy. In other words, Venezuela is saying that they are not going to abide by whatever the court rules. So we can sit back and we can say, well, we hope they abide by the thing. They have already indicated quite clearly and openly that they are not going to abide. They don't respect. As a matter of fact, the third question on the referendum of December the 3rd says here what they're asking the people, do you agree with Venezuela's historical position of not recognizing the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice to resolve the territorial controversy over Guyana Essequibo? That is one of the questions, and they're going to say, yes, we agree that we should not do it. As I said, this is a fait accompli, and therefore I am saying that more needs to be done. Even the president in the thing, I'm going to deal with that on Wednesday. The president is saying that they need to do more to educate the Guyanese people as to what is going on. Who need to do more? And let me just get it there quickly. I don't want to misquote the president. Now the president is saying, he said, our citizens deserve to be informed and sensitized about what is happening. However, they should not be fear-driven or engaged in sensationalism. There are a lot of doctored tapes or videos being shared lately concerning the border issue, and I urge them not to be carried away or to get themselves involved. President acknowledged that a robust communication strategy is needed to address citizens' concerns through factual information, and the government will be collaborating with the members of the local media to initiate the education of awareness. The government will, at this stage, the government will be, what I said, the government will be collaborating. We have to avoid by now that there's some robust collaboration. We should see the efforts, the output of that. But we haven't seen anything. And so therefore, how can you blame people when they hear all certain rumors? On Saturday, a man came to me and tell me he was very concerned because he's not hearing anything about what the government is doing and in education, what is likely to happen. People are concerned. People are concerned, and it is incumbent on the government to make sure that this robust campaign is months now. Venezuela rattling the saber. Look, the people in Venezuela are sharing out flyers for this thing, saying Essequibo is we own. A referendum. There's another tape which I'll show on Wednesday where the people did trial run on the voting arrangement for December 3rd. And what are we doing? We sitting down at the press conferences and we cussing out the fact-finding mission, we cussing out everybody. If the people who do all this cussing out should expend half the energy towards this controversy, we are, as a nation, will be better informed and better prepared for whatever happens. Because we have to understand that come December the 4th, when the results are made known, the Venezuelans are going to say yes to all 5 questions. That is my prediction. Yes to all 5 questions on the referendum. And where will that leave us? We anticipate, according to the president, that the ICJ will make a ruling before that. Yeah, that is reasonable to anticipate, to expect that. But what then? Venezuela, as I've said, has indicated quite clearly that they are not going to abide by whatever the ICJ says. They have made it clear. The vice president said that at the ICJ, that their participation in this arrangement in no way mean that they're recognizing the jurisdiction of the ICJ to deal with this matter. That is what is being done. But what are we doing? We got some policemen in flag. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. And that is where we go. In the meanwhile, we have billboards up with the extended squatter talking about traffic campaign. We have go all over, president is there. You get Guy Expo, I don't know what type of information. And that was the ideal place, perhaps, to pass out information, videos, and all of that. We should hear about this thing on CNN, advertisement on CNN, in MSNBC, BBC, all over the place. We get the money. It's not like we broke. It's not like we are broken. We have the money. Let's spend the money to educate Guyanese and the world as to what happened. Because Venezuela has a very strong propaganda machine in Venezuela and around the place. Because Guyana is now labeled as the aggressor in this matter. Imagine that. Venezuela has been campaigning and has been labeling Guyana as the aggressor. As a matter of fact, at the ICJ last week, the vice president showed the image of our president in his Halloween uniform, that Castro type uniform, to say that Guyana preparing to war. Imagine that. Imagine that. That is what they are pushing, and we are not pushing back. That's the thing. When these false things are put out there, we have a responsibility to respond and to let people know what the truth is. Somebody even suggested in one of the papers, I think today or something, we should demand that CARICOM has an urgent summit to address this issue, because some of the CARICOM members are dancing. They are dancing, they are vacillating. So we can't be sure how they stand in terms of support for Guyana, because I say again, the solution cannot be a military solution. We don't have the capability for that. We have to use diplomacy. We have to get the people in the international community to be on our side. And for them to be on our side, for the people of Guyana to be on the side, we have to make sure they have the credible information. Let me bring in CC. I've said a mouthful. CC, this issue, what say you, my brother?
We gotta face reality, you know. Venezuelan gonna vote yes to the referendum, and consequences will follow after. They would give them the mandate to do what they want to do. And we in Guyana, we're not really operating as we are to. Little here and there thing. Up to now, the president has not addressed the nation in a substantive manner, in a structured manner. Little bits and pieces coming out from a news conference, little bits and pieces coming from some engagement in a scribble and elsewhere can't work. There must be a structured approach. We need the president to address us, to guide us, to let us know the way forward. And as I said several sessions ago, that we need to concentrate on our dime. The D, diplomacy, we're doing some work, but not enough. We got to be aggressive on it. The I, the intelligence. I don't know what the intelligence is doing. The M, our military, and the military involves the police, the army, and other members of the joint services. And we need to look at our economy. We gain a pathway to the Atlantic, where the isle is. That's what we. That's what we do. That's what the second vice president said. Give them a pathway to the thing. And our economy, our main source of thing is the isle, and that is in the Atlantic, and we get given away. So we not doing good, Paul. The government not doing good. They need to get up and be more aggressive. Countermeasures we need to employ, but we not doing that. I agree with the former chief of staff. We say that the diplomacy is our first line of defense, but other things got to chip in too. Other things got to chip in, and not say we short of money, not say that we are impecunious. No. Let our education program, not the nonsense I see, that the mockery that I see the police saying Venezuela waving flag about the place, and that is not enough. That should even never happen. Things must be done in a structured way, and we need to be aggressive. The president has got to take the lead role, and it's all of us got to be involved, or all will be consumed.
All must be involved or all will be consumed. Thank you very much, my brother. And just to tell people, we are going to continue our protest in front of the Venezuelan embassy. We'll be there again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I want to thank those who have, Carol and all of those persons who have been coming out to join us. Welcome others to come. And we have got to show that we are committed to this struggle. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. And not like what the police say, Essequibo belongs. We know. And all 83,000 square miles, not 83, we ain't giving nothing. We ain't giving no passage to the Atlantic. We're not giving up a blade of grass. And we are going to continue to be out there, and we are going to continue to demonstrate and to say that the peace must reign in this part of the world. As I've said, and we continue to call on the government to do much more, because Venezuela portraying Guyana, imagine Venezuela is portraying Guyana in the national committee as the aggressors. Why? Because they say, we don't want to talk in keeping with the Geneva Agreement. The Geneva Agreement, the first part of the Geneva Agreement talking failed. They had the good officer process, and that for decades. It went nowhere. So the Secretary General, UN Secretary General, in keeping with the Geneva Agreement, has sent the matter to the ICJ, and the ICJ is still ruling it. Venezuela know full well that they don't stand a ghost of a chance of convincing any independent body that the 1899 arbitral award wasn't final in terms of the land boundary between Guyana and Venezuela. They know that. So that's why they moved on one referendum. They say they don't recognize the jurisdiction of the ICJ. That's part of the question in the referendum. And they are saying that whatever the ICJ says, they're not going to respect that. And to sit back and to say, well, you expect them to comply, that is enough. That is good to say that, but that is not enough. We have to do more. We have to cater for a worst case scenario. We have to prepare the people for a worst case, with regards to the fact that we know we can't fight no military battle. We don't intend to fight any military battle, but there are other things that we can do. Other things we can do, and we have to start by educating the population. We have to start by educating the population. So let me close off by inviting one and all to join me tomorrow. Me and my colleague CC, others have joined us too. Derek and other people. Another Paul has been there. Rhonda has come out to join. We even had on one occasion some Tushos came to join us. We had a couple, overseas couple, who came, saw, and they came and they joined us. People are coming out and they are joining us tomorrow, 10 o'clock. We are going to be there again. Rain or shine, we're going to be there to make our voices heard. You know, they come out, the Venezuelans at the embassy, they come very polite. They're very polite. And they take pictures and they take videos. They ask permission for us. And we would tell them, go ahead, do what you want to do. But I'm sure they send it back to Caracas. And they must be having a good laugh. I said, look, it's only 10 or 12 of them coming out. I showed the video of the policemen walking around the flag. Don't go back to Caracas. We don't know how to play this game. We cussing out fact-finding mission. We cussing out opposition. We cussing out every time the canary. And the person who we should really expend our energy to cussing out is the Venezuelan president, who is rattling. And the reason is he faced a lot of challenge. You have a lot of economic difficulties in Venezuela. But over the years, this is the one issue. The Essequibo controversy is one issue that has brought the country together. So he's using that for political reasons. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We have got to make sure, the government has to make sure that we are informed and we are educated. I'm very disappointed when the president sits there with this, well, I don't want to call him a dinosaur, but we could not see him too, at this press conference, and can say that we will be collaborating. We will be, future tense, we will be. This will be past, we have done so. Tell we're going to collaborate with members of the local media corps to initiate an educational and awareness strategy. At this stage, we will be, when Venezuela moving full speed ahead, they have already had rehearsals for the referendum. And as you can see in the video that I showed a while ago, posters all over the place about referendum. Essequibo is ours. That's what it's saying. And we fiddling our thumbs while Rome, like Nero, while Rome burns. So comrades, let me say this to you. We had a fantastic turnout today, Monday, in this class. And in closing, I want to again say to you, you are responsible for your safety, especially to the police ranks. You are responsible for your safety. So when you go out, and whether you call it roadblock, which it's not, whether you call it a checkpoint, whatever you call it, you have got to make sure that you are safe. I'm disappointed, but not surprised in the police association. They have a responsibility. These are welfare issues to make sure that the administration of the force is aware of some of the concerns of the rank. They should have been meeting with the ranks, not only now after this death, this unfortunate death, to find out what are some of the welfare issues, bring it to their attention. But their only aim, as far as I see, was to get in there, to accept the list for members of the Police Service Commission and to present that as a list, and to get their promotion, because almost every single one of them were promoted in July last year. So that is it. That is what they were interested in. And it is real sad. And as I said, folks, I'm in this long haul, you know, this thing against Venezuelans, so I ain't going no place. All the intimidation, all the threats, and so I ain't going no place, because I know that someday you got to die. You can't live forever. You have to die. So when people threaten you with death, death is inevitable. According to, and I'll leave you with this joke, according to a man years ago, he said there are two things in this life that are inevitable. Do you know them? I was at a course. This is actually happened. And he said, everybody said, well, you know, yes, death is inevitable. And what is the next one? Then at some stage, some bright boy said, blow. for the Trinidad's horn, bun, inevitable. And he wants to say, yes, except that you get them in the wrong order. You get the blow and then you die. It's not death and blow, it's blow, then death. So that is on the lighter side. So folks, until Wednesday, that's the day after tomorrow, we're going to be here for next episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. And as we normally do, we're going to play the Not a Blade of Grass and the other song as we leave. Let me give you Not a Blade of Grass. And bye, take care of yourself. See you on Wednesday at midday Ghana time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
We are a peaceful people, struggling, we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about